What's up, everyone? Welcome back for another video. Today we're doing my April log. I'm kidding. Okay. So this is what I read for April. Not much, because I was waiting for shipments to come in at the beginning of April. So this is why the log is so short, because I had nothing to read. I mean, I did. You'll see. I read a normal book. Let's get into it. Heavier Than Heaven by Charles R. Cross. It's a biography of Kurt Cobain. I had this in my stack of normal books because when I got it, was like fall of last year, and I had really grown an interest in Kurt Cobain. I have one on Dave Grohl I need to read as well. Probably after I finish my current stack of manga, read that. But Heavier Than Heaven is a tour that Nirvana went on with another group in England. They called it Heavier Than Heaven because one of the dudes was fat, like really big. So they were like, "Oh, Heavier Than Heaven." So yeah, if you're interested in it, go read it. It is dark. I mean, obviously, covering Kurt Cobain's life, it's going to be dark because of just who he was as a person. Nah, it's not so much dark. It gets dark, towards his mid-teens, late teens. That's when it starts to get dark. He used to journal a lot, and so some of his entries had some really disturbing thoughts that weren't normal. Or, like, obviously, there was some sort of untreated mental illness aside from depression. Yeah, it was a really interesting read. It gave me a lot of insight that I didn't know because I'll be honest, previous to reading this, I hadn't really known much about Kurt Cobain. I knew like a few things, a few pointers, like that he took his own life at the end. And this is like what led. Well, so the beginning is it's a prologue. It's kind of like it was his first overdose, and then we got into the childhood stuff. One of my favorite moments, I will say. So when when Nirvana was doing their MTV thing, Unplugged, I believe, one of them, and many times they were on MTV. If they were more than once, I'm not sure. There was a song that MTV did not want them to play. Like, they were doing it during rehearsal, and MTV was like, no, we don't want this in the show. So Nirvana, what they did was they did a little sneaky thing, a cheeky thing. They started playing the song when it was live, and then they immediately switched. Like, just a big F you, like, you thought. I really liked that. And Kurt Cobain is just, so I will say a lot of conspiracy theories around his death. The way this was explained to me in the book, the way it went about it, I don't believe Courtney killed Kurt. Like, according to the book, she wasn't there. Nobody had found his body for like 2 or 3 days because nobody had bothered to search his whole property of his house. So, yeah. And he would have died either way, because before he took his life, he overdosed essentially. Like, before really hit him before he could not move due to the amount he injected himself with, he had pulled the trigger. So either way, it seems like he would have died that day. Especially because no one knew where he was, so they wouldn't have found him. It was he ran away from rehab again. Yeah. And sad story. This video was meant to be short. I wasn't gonna go into detail like that, but it was interesting. It's not really a spoiler because it's someone's life, and if there's a biography on them, they're most likely dead. So yeah, I'm surprised. Araki, go read this book. Araki hasn't done a Nirvana reference yet. Maybe he has. I'm not sure. No, I think he has. Like, Smells Like Teen Spirit. I feel like something along those lines has been in a stand before. Anyway, part 5. I finished it. I enjoyed part 5 a lot. I mean, obviously I've seen the anime, reading the manga, there was no difference really. The epilogue still confuses me. I just don't see why you would have it like that. Like, what? I just don't understand why it was included. Like, the epilogue was more like a kind of a prologue, because it was before Giorno was involved with the group. Yeah. I really like part 5. Zipperman, aka Sticky Fingers. Probably my favorite stand in this part. Like, I don't know, it's cool. The way it's used, I mean, Mista's is cool, of course, with the bullets. And, yeah. I believe, now, there's one question I had after reading it. Where's Fugo? If you've read or watched anime, there's a moment where Fugo you know what happens, but you don't know what happens after that. Like, you see him go, but you're like, he doesn't, like, make an appearance. Like, nothing is said of him. It's just kind of like one and done, like, bye. Bye-bye, dude. Bye-bye. Honestly, I don't remember a stand. Yeah, I'm walking away to get my phone so I can look up his stand. Because, oh, right, he had Purple Haze. Yes. I see why Araki did that. I feel like, given later battles where people were kind of nearby and in the way, civilians, I can see why Araki removed. If he had planned that far ahead, I can see why Purple Haze was removed, because it seems like Purple Haze is kind of like not really controllable, an unstable stand per se. So I understand now. But to just not, like, talk about him later on, or even about it, like, why? Why not talk about that, dude? I don't know. He's in the epilogue, kinda. I mean, obviously. But also the stand that's involved in the epilogue is kind of cool. I like that. Like, ooh, never mind. I was gonna say, like, what if stands could be, like, inherited again? Kind of like devil fruits from One Piece. Like, how if the user dies, then the devil fruit ability is put back into a fruit again. But yeah. Also, the arrow. So for the epilogue, I would have liked to see afterwards, like, okay, of course, at the end of part 5, before the epilogue, we see what happens to Giorno and the surviving members of Le Passion. But I guess, like, in terms of that, it's not the most satisfying ending. But I guess the epilogue kind of enhances that, and it's like, okay, it's not a satisfying ending, but it's like it reveals a twist that the readers didn't know, but the characters knew. At least everyone but Giorno. Or not every member knew either. Mista knew. And Bucciarati knew. But I wish they would have mentioned that too. Like, maybe a side panel, like Mista and Bucciarati talking, and they're like, and maybe they realized that what they saw is becoming a reality, and they're like, we should stop, boss, we should go. Like, I would have liked to see that, or at least some mention of it, so then, like, later, like, for the epilogue, we're kind of like, if you remember them talk about that, then, like, it's like a callback. It's like, this happened before they met Giorno and whatnot. That was a little rant. This video is longer than I wanted it to be. I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, not as long as it is. Like, I was expecting like 5 minutes, but then I went on a tangent. I apologize. That was it. This was my April log, if you can call it that. I only read 2 things. It took me a while to read Heavier Than Heaven because the chapters were 20 pages, and the way it was written, sometimes I was interested in it, sometimes I wasn't, depending on the particular point we were at in the book. So it took me almost a month to read it, and while I've read shorter books, maybe it was the way it was written. Anyway, the author of that book has done other bands, like they do books on musicians and stuff. So yeah. Of course, part 6 is releasing of JoJo's. I have to give it a read, It's only the beginning of May when I'm uploading this, so maybe I'm reading it now, maybe I'm not. You'll have to see next month. With that being said, thank you for watching. Later.